everyone's making like Marner played 2 days straight the other night. Played 29 minutes. Like
That's
McDavid does that. Yeah, it is on one given night. He didn't do it for a week straight.
Yeah, but he kind of did. He played like 25 a few games before that. He's playing a lot.
Sounds like he wants to, though, right?
Yeah,
like,
he's a
like,
superstar player.
I gotta
Let
say,
him play.
like, it's March. Like, you're gonna run him into the ground a little bit now? No, I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem wise to me to play him 25 minutes a night in March.
I don't think it will continue. I think Keefe will be cognizant of that. Maybe not tonight because there are 11 forwards. And if you're down a forward, who are you going to go to when you need a shift? Aston Reese or Marner? I mean, it's pretty clear who he's picking. And he referenced it, I believe, today, if not yesterday. Every time he looks down the bench, Marner's looking at him saying, put me back on the ice, which I think is a good sign because Marner understands he's feeling it right now, and he's in great shape. He's in his mid-20s, right? Like, and I said this yesterday, Jonas, like, I feel like it's deja vu whenever we get into these conversations, and we've been having them for 7 years, and I'm not sure any of them actually matter come playoff time. You know, the debate over what you do on back-to-backs, the debate over minutes played, the debate over who's going to play with who. Like, they've gone through it all, and I feel like they've changed the way that they've operated year over year, whether it's the Keefe years or the Babcock years, and it's still led to the same result. So,
what does that mean?
Well, the point being is because Mitch Marner played 29 minutes 2 nights ago doesn't mean they're going to get swept by Tampa.
No,
also doesn't mean they're going to
no.
sweep Tampa. Like, it has no bearing on what's going to happen in a month.
No, but like you can't say it's a good idea to play him a ton of minutes in the month before the playoffs. Like, how does that? Like, you want him to be fresh. Like, you don't think there's anything to that? I think there is.
I think there is, but I see what you're saying, Jonas. Like, 29 was too much, but that's an outlier. If it happens to be, and this is where you manage games too. This is where if you're up 4-1 going into the third, you don't need to double down on the power play. Like, this is the in-game management of going, and there was a stretch, I'll go back, because the guys who chew the most ice time that I watch in Canadian hockey is usually McDavid and Draisaitl. And if they're up in a game, I've seen the second power play go out. I see Jay Woodcroft manage that. And believe me, he's gone 11-7 a lot in Edmonton because he tries to find those guys extra shifts. It helps their team. Now you're in the Leafs situation where, yes, your only battle is whether it's home ice or not. You know who you're playing. But I do think there is something where you can pull off some of his ice time. You know where I'd like to see it? On the penalty kill. Like, I know
they've done that a little more of late.
Mitch is good on the penalty kill, no doubt. But last thing I want to see is him get hit with a one-timer slap shot at the top of the umbrella there, when maybe it could be Nola Chari, because Achari got hit in the hand the other day. Mm-hmm. He was shaking his hand. All I thought about, well, that's if this guy's got a broken hand or something like that. Again, you can't bubble wrap players, but you can place them in situations where they don't have to face one-timer slap shots. And that might be, if you want to take some of Mitch's ice time away and get him from, let's say, 25 to 22, you could take 2 minutes away from of special teams, especially the penalty kill, and then maybe somewhere 5-on-5
it's possible.
Get it down a bit.
Again, 29, of course, is excessive. It did go into overtime, but it's one game. It's not going to happen again, but it does. He's proven he can deal with it. Like I think he's prepping for the playoffs, building up towards it. Here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. How many minutes is 2 minutes? Too many minutes for Marner and I guess for Matthews, because Matthews played a ton of minutes the other night too.
Well, let's just say it's a 60-minute game. That one went to overtime. I think anything nearing 25 is too many for our centerman. It's just too many to do consistently. On a one-off, you can maybe get there, but I think 23 is pushing the outer limits of getting the very best every single time the guy is on the ice. Now, I know that I heard you guys, the 11-7 obviously caters to the good players, and Marner as a winger doesn't have to work quite as much as Matthews down the middle. They're both obviously in good shape and can handle it. But, like, tonight is what? They're 3rd and 4. They play again tomorrow night as well, or whatever. It's going to be 4 and 6, whatever it is. You do need some rest, even though they are incredible at it. I don't think you want to push them over 23 unless you absolutely have to. And maybe they feel like they have to, or maybe they feel like they want to, but it's not something you want to do long term.
No, and I wouldn't expect that it will happen. I think Keefe gets caught up in the game. It's on Keefe. It doesn't matter that Marner's looking back at him all the time. The coach makes a call on who goes on the ice.
Hey,
But
I used to look back at Gretsch. They put me on the power play. He never did. Like, you know what I mean? Just because you're looking back doesn't mean you get the ice time you're searching for. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's on Sheldon. And, I think in a game against Colorado, their big boys were playing a ton. There was a lot of special teams, so lots of 5-on-5 and lots of 5-on-4 both ways, which Mitch, of course, plays. But you're right. It's on the coach more than it's on the player to say, yeah, I'm good to do it. Because guys are always good to do everything, even when they're not.
Right. And I think, again, we keep talking about these learning experiences, these amplified moments that you can apply to the playoffs. In recent memory, the Leafs have not had a lot of games that have gone into overtime in the playoffs. And not any that I can recall that go into double OT, triple OT. It's been a long time. But there's a part of me that thinks, not that was the conscious decision, but in a way, you realize Marner still got it in the tank if it gets to that point. Like, if it goes to double OT, triple OT, this guy is going to be buzzing still once he hits the 30-minute mark, 35, 40 minutes. Like, he's going to – I don't get the impression like he's losing gas later in these games. Like, I didn't see that the other night. Matthews is different because he's a bigger guy. And to your point, Johnny, playing center, he's got more battles down low. He's got more ice to chew up. But Marner, I don't know, man. I think he can play 24, 25 minutes in his sleep. I really do. It doesn't affect him.
He can. Not in a game maybe, but would it affect him the third game or the fourth game if it happens over and over and over? So no question. Like, he didn't look tired at all. He was spry as ever at the end of last game, but if you asked him to do that night after night after night, would it eventually sort of take a toll on him? And the other thing about Mitch that's amazing, and just having been around the team a little bit more closely this year, is that I don't know how tall Mitch Marner is. He's 6'1", maybe. He's not big. You know what I mean? Like, he's a thin guy, which probably makes it easier to carry that weight around for all those minutes. But the fact that he isn't as involved as he is, being the size and sort of weight that he is, it's amazing that he's able to kind of be durable and not get knocked around, because when you see him, he looks like he weighs 180 pounds. He doesn't look like a big guy.
Johnny, I just want you to admit that the easiest position to play in hockey is a wing. That's the laziest position you can play. Just admit it.
Hang on. You're choosing the wrong word. I was all on board. I'm like, sadly, I will admit it's the easiest. And then you went and said laziest.
Yeah. That's a mic drop.
Okay, you're right.
Laziest the backup goalie noodles?
You're right. You're right. Because you need a. It is, but here it is a good counter. But here's what I'm saying: is like outside. Like, I could think of players that were great players, but they maybe lacked in certain situations. What did they play? It's always the wing, right?
Yeah.
Like Brett Hall comes to example. Like, you can hide players on the wing because it's like, that guy's not really good. He's not going to be the first guy back. I'm talking defensively. Like, offensively, they're brilliant. I'm just saying defensively, if there was flaws, they always played wing, because it's like, that guy can be the last back in the zone, just chasing the play, standing there with his D-man. Even O admits, like, all he had to care about was that defenseman that stood there, and he would just stand beside him. So I getting into all of this talk, yes, a winger can play a lot of minutes. It's different in today's game, obviously, with so much speed and all of that. So I was joking tongue-in-cheek, but I wanted –
You're not, though.
I'm slightly joking.
It's 100% true. Why do centermen get moved to the wing at the end of their careers? Because you don't need to skate quite as well. Now, I will say this. When O and I played, the way that we have to play defense, or the way that they have to play defense now on the wing, is entirely different. Way more sagging, way more moving, way more blocking shots, a lot more involved than when O and I used to. Like, you could have just pitched your tent up there by the blue line and say, I got my guy. Like, I'm not worried about anything else. It was very, very easy. So, and there are moments when you're a winger where you can conserve energy in the middle of a shift. Like, you're like, okay, I got this 7 seconds, battles in the far corner. I'm in defensive zone. I'm standing in the slot. I'm just standing there. I'm not doing anything. So it all plays into Marner playing as much as he has. But, I saw the note today that it was the third highest time on ice in a game this year, behind, I think, McKinnon and McDavid were 1-2. So Centerman had the top two numbers. Of course, those guys all being some of the best in the world.